Now your Storm Track forecast first, sponsored by Kansas 811.
Temperatures outside in the middle 30s. I hope you enjoy them because they won't be around long. We are going to drop drastically from here. Outside our Clay Center camera, one of the farthest northern views we have right now, starting to see some activity in the region. Wind chills generally in the 20s outside, 23 in Hiawatha and Manhattan. Much colder air on the way. Details coming up.
Now on 27 News.
Winter weather is making its way to northeast Kansas. What you can do now to stay safe in the snow and life-threatening cold temperatures.
It's always easier for us to prevent any kind of illness than to try to treat it.
If you have to leave your home, we tell you the safest way that you can do it. Plus, firefighters want you to stay warm, but avoid setting any accidental fires. 3 simple ways to protect you and your neighbors. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us for 27 News at 4:30. I'm Mackenzie Davis. We are only hours away from snowfall and bitterly cold temperatures setting in northeast Kansas. We've got a team in to cover this winter weather for you. 27 News reporter Alyssa Storm is live in West Topeka. She talked to local doctors on threats of hypothermia and the negative wind chills we are about to have. But first, let's check in with 27 News Storm Track meteorologist Ryan Matoush for a look at the forecast. So Ryan, what is the concern about the incoming snow and drastically cold temperatures?
Yeah, there's several concerns, Mackenzie. We have a few highlights to get through, including wind gusts 40+ mile an hour, wind chills 40 degrees below zero, light snow accumulations, and of course very dangerous travel conditions early tomorrow morning. First things first, satellite and radar highlighting some snow flurries and freezing drizzle already moving across northeast Kansas. We're getting some reports of cars sliding off roadways, especially near Manhattan, so please use caution on the road already. Even though the main Arctic front is still a little bit a ways, we are watching some early snowfall in the area with those light flurries and freezing drizzle. And that cold front will be moving through late tonight into early tomorrow morning, bringing some light snow accumulations. Now, I do want to emphasize the snowfall totals will not be the main headline with this storm system. It's likely going to be the wind chills and the dangerous travel impacts. Wind chill warning and winter storm warning in effect for everyone in northeast Kansas. Light snow accumulations, wind chills, wind gusts blowing snow. It's going to be a very active Thursday morning for us. National temperatures, this is a good graphic to show that Arctic air is already dropping down from the north. It's going to get closer to us here in northeast Kansas as we head towards the midnight hour. I'll have more updates soon. And with extreme wind chills, doctors say being outside for any amount of time can be dangerous. 27 News reporter Alyssa Storm is live in West Topeka now with what could happen if you find yourself in this situation. Alyssa?
Ryan, I sat down with a doctor and the National Weather Service who say the weather conditions that we're expecting are a recipe for disaster, especially with your health. Cold weather and high winds can lead to some of the most dangerous weather in northeast Kansas.
We don't often see these, we see them sometimes, but we don't often see these kind of wind chills, so we're really just not very acclimated to it.
During extremely cold weather, local doctors say it only takes a few minutes for the early signs of frostbite to appear.
Frostbite can happen in just a matter of minutes, especially in times where it's going to be extremely cold and windy, or if your skin is unexposed or getting wet.
You know you're in the early stages of frostbite when your skin changes to a red color, then very pale. You will also experience a tingling or numbing in those areas. If you're experiencing any of those symptoms, it's important to see a doctor sooner rather than later.
It's always easier for us to prevent any kind of illness than to try to treat it.
Experts say you should be spending only a couple minutes outside if it's necessary. So I think my time is up. Reporting live in West Topeka, working for you, Alyssa Storm, 27 News.
All right, Alyssa, thank you for that. Some great advice out of Topeka. Now, the Topeka Fire Department wants to help prevent house fires and protect your neighbors. The department says keep flammable items at least 3 feet away from heat sources like fireplaces, as well as wood stoves or space heaters. Now, store ashes in a tightly covered metal container outside and at least 10 feet from your home. Now, if you see someone entering an empty building, be sure to call the police. Now, keeping your home warm and secure during this cold snap may take some effort. HVAC experts say keep your thermostat set at 65 or above. Close curtains and shutters and check doors and windows for drafts. To prevent pipes from bursting, insulate them and along exterior walls or unheated basements. Now, make sure to unscrew your hose from the outdoor spigot. Experts say that's one of the most common mistakes.
I do suggest to remove it because that causes a freeze on your hose bib and it cracks inside your house, which will cause a lot of thousands of dollars of damage.
He also says if this does happen, you want to know where your water shutoff valve is located. Now, of course, we are tracking closings across the area as well. Emporia State announced it is starting winter break early. The university says campus will close at 5 today, so that's in a couple minutes, and then it will reopen after the holidays on January 3rd. Other organizations and churches have closed as well. You can find those all on our website. And we will keep up with the ever-changing forecast over on our website, ksnt.com. You can also download our mobile app to take the news, weather, and even sports with you wherever you go. New this afternoon, a Kansas man serving a federal prison sentence is getting more time. Sean Parcels was sentenced for running an illegal autopsy scheme, and now he will serve an additional year in jail on state criminal charges. The Kansas Attorney General's office says Parcels, who you see right here, will serve his 12-month sentence in Wabunsee County. This after he finishes a sentence of nearly 6 years in federal prison on a wire fraud charge. Court records say Parcels has no formal education in pathology, but made more than $1.1 million in Kansas between 2016 and 2019. This is from autopsies for more than 350 clients, most of which he did not perform. The AG's office says he was convicted of 3 felony theft charges and 3 misdemeanor charges of illegally obtaining control over bodies in Wabunsee County. Here's a live look at Washington, D.C. The Ukrainian president is visiting President Joe Biden at the White House today. Now, this is Volodymyr Zelensky's first trip outside Ukraine since the Russian invasion. The meeting comes hours after the White House announced Biden authorized a $1 billion drawdown for Ukraine assistance. Zelensky will then travel to Capitol Hill, where he'll give a primetime address to a joint session of Congress. Right now, lawmakers are working to pass a big spending bill that includes more funding for Ukraine.
President Zelensky, the United States stands with the brave people of Ukraine. We stand with you. You've been a great leader.
To your ordinary people, Americans, I really appreciate.
Administration officials were clear today President Biden would not be pressuring President Zelensky to negotiate before he's ready. The back and forth over Title 42 strengthens. Up next, why migrants are being turned away at the southern border, ruffling feathers with immigration advocates. Plus, we're keeping a watchful eye for snowfall in the viewing area. We'll be right back.
And wind speeds aren't too bad yet, but the front is on the way. And with that front, we're going to be watching 30 to 40 mile an hour wind gusts, blowing snow, near blizzard conditions early tomorrow morning. All those details and more coming up.
Now, your Storm Track weather with Chief Meteorologist Matt Miller.
Today, temperatures were up to about 90 in many locations, and it's become quite a bit more humid, especially now in the evening hours. Mostly clear sky for a good part of the night, but a few showers late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Continued warm, not hot every day. Actually, today was the warmer day of the week, and so we'll cool down a little bit and stay warm. We'll see a few showers possible over the weekend, but the real heat starts to build back in next week as we head into August. Nice view over Junction City with a mostly clear sky, mostly clear at Emporia, as well as a view over West Topeka, where the temperature is right now 82 degrees. It's calm. The dew point's at 73 degrees, so it's still fairly humid across the region. We'll hold on to that fairly high humidity through the night. 90 the high today after starting out at 71. Stacks up very close to the averages of 69 and 91. You're looking at temperatures that were, again, warmer today because we saw some sunshine, even after some rain. Of course, it's part of the reason why it was quite humid out there as well. But we picked up anywhere from a few hundredths to as much as 31. 0.1 of an inch of rain at Forbes Field in Topeka. 85 at Pratt, 84 at Dodge City, and generally 70s and 80s to the north as well. The heat really has been suppressed farther south and has weakened a little bit in the intensity. So good news for the kind of the region as well. But the temperatures around our area generally holding with some warmth, with lots of lower 80s at this hour, but also lots of lower 70s on the dew point. And this is that number that really takes any temperature and determines how it feels out there. It's how humid it is. And so when you get into those low to mid 70s, it's pretty muggy. And so with that higher humidity in place and not much wind, it's a bit of a stuffy evening. Fortunately, it's not hot and stuffy. It's just warm out there. But the heat today during the afternoon, you felt it a little bit more because of that higher humidity air in place. What happens tomorrow is a northerly breeze kicks in. Not a strong wind, 5 to 10 miles per hour, but it's a north wind, and it will eventually bring in a little drying, and we'll get the benefit of that as we head into Friday and Saturday. Mostly clear sky right now. We'll watch the showers and thunderstorms that are trying to develop over parts of Nebraska and South Dakota. Those in scattered fashion will move to the southeast and stay scattered as they approach. So don't focus so much on where this particular computer model places them as they move across. It could be over Marysville, it could be over Abilene. It's just scattered. So the scattering of these as they drive through the area tonight into the morning between 3 and 6 a.m., that's what you look for. Timing of it, the kind of the location being scattered. Some will get rains on, some will not. As we head through the day tomorrow, we'll gradually clear out, especially late in the day toward tomorrow evening, and then more clouds move over the area on Friday. Tonight down to 70, storm or two possible late in the night, early tomorrow morning, and then after those clouds from those showers, even if we don't get underneath the showers at your location, you'll probably see a lot of the cloud cover. We'll clear out of that with some sunshine late, top out at 83. Your swims and sweeps 7-day forecast, we're back up into the low to mid 80s as we wrap up the week and head into the weekend, but then eventually warming up a little bit more towards Sunday. Again, the break in the humidity Friday and Saturday. Humidity starts to return late in the weekend, and the heat really builds in next week as highs by the middle of next week should be back up at least into the upper 90s. And of course, we put that on there. Know that our western counties tend to run a little bit drier but a little hotter, and so I wouldn't be surprised if our western counties by middle of next week will be up over 100.
Okay, so if you want to get that new hairdo, if you want to break from the humidity, Saturday and Sunday is the day to do it.
I'd say Friday and Saturday more. Sunday the humidity may start coming in, so you may have a little bit to contend with, but yeah, the break is on Saturday, but also I think it'll be here as early as Friday.
All right, you heard it here first. Thanks, Matt. We'll be right back.
I'm Dane Kroll. Tomorrow morning on Fox 43 AM Live. Learn how to turn your yard into the envy of the neighborhood with Kansas Rebuilders. Plus, we'll have a look at upcoming events with our spotted guy, Keith Horenick. Join us tomorrow morning at 9 on Fox 43 KTMJ.
I'm David George.
And I'm Mackenzie Davis. This is what's coming up on 27 News. COVID numbers are increasing across most of the state. So tonight we'll take a look at the reasons behind the most recent surge.
And when this man joined the Navy, internet military communication at sea was in its infancy. Meet the veteran who helped pave the way for cyber defense in this week's Veteran Salute.
Well, as Glenn just reported, Magic Mahomes played near perfect football last night and deservingly took home his second Super Bowl MVP award. But perhaps the most valuable part of the game was Big Red Andy Reid's play calling. Mahomes made tight throws at times, but there were plays where we just looked at each other like, how is he that wide open? I don't want to hear Denisha laugh when I say this, but it was because of a corn dog. Andy Reid said after the game that the plays I'm about to show you are indeed called corn dog, confirming that Patrick Mahomes goes into the huddle and calls corn dog when they run it. It's this stack set you see here up top. On this Sky Moore touchdown. It happened two other touchdowns in this game, but this will be the easiest to show. Mahomes is going to send Moore into motion, forcing the defensive back to follow, but then Moore will come to a stop, leaving him wide open on that side of the field. We'll play the video now. You see Moore comes down into motion, sending his defender across the field to cover on the other side. Then the defender goes too far, Sky pivots, and he scores wide open in the flat. Like I said, they call this play corn dog. We'll go to earlier in the fourth quarter, Kadarius Toney's touchdown. Same thing. He's at the bottom of the screen here. Toney comes in motion, sending Darius Slay across the field, and we'll pause the video. Look at this separation. There's Toney, there's Slay. And look at Mahomes there. He's just eyeing him right away because he sees that 10 to 15 yards of separations. The defenders need to be up against the receivers, but because of the motion, the defender's running across the field. Toney has no one around him and waltzes into the end zone. And then earlier in the game, the first touchdown to Travis Kelce. It's a different story because the corn dog stack gets him wide one-on-one in the flats. But with Kelce, you're going to take that one-on-one matchup every single time. So it's plays like this, the corn dog, that will go down in history with Coach Reed as one of the greatest to do it. And that is your look at sports for now. But don't worry, we will have more sports coming up later in the show. Stick around, some more Chiefs coverage, and hear from Travis Kelce, who made that corn dog catch on the touchdown, on why his second Super Bowl is better than his first.
Well, today is Groundhog Day, and Punxsutawney Phil made his prediction. It's 6 more weeks of winter. Now, thousands gathered in Gobbler's Knob, Pennsylvania early this morning to celebrate the annual tradition of the groundhog. Crowds were in good spirits, waiting for Phil's early morning rise out of his tree stump. This year is the 137th gathering. More details are being released on how Netflix may crack down on passwords, something that we've been trying to figure out for quite some time. Reports suggest the company may follow a model that it has in place overseas. Now, according to the company's online help center for Costa Rica, Chile, and Peru, anyone in the user's household can use the account. Now, those outside of the household will have to get their own account or can be added as an extra member. The Help Center stated the cost of adding an extra member on a standard or premium plan is less than the price of the basic plan. ChatGPT is acquiring new users faster than the most popular apps. UBS says the popular chatbot is estimated to have reached 100 million monthly active users last month, just 2 months after launching. Now, making it the fastest growing consumer app in history. The AI-powered text tool can produce answers to almost any question in seconds. It took special media app TikTok about 9 months to build the same user base and roughly 2.5 years for Instagram to acquire 100 million monthly users. Now, the House of Representatives passed a resolution to remove Congresswoman Ilhan Omar from the Foreign Affairs Committee. House Republicans called for today's vote after alleging Omar evoked anti-Semitic comments in the past. Removing Omar from the committee has been a longtime goal of now House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries called the vote politically motivated and said Republicans were holding Omar to a double standard. Before the vote, Omar said she would continue to be a voice against harms around the world no matter the outcome. All 211 House Democrats voted against Omar's removal. Nearly a week ago, the nation was stunned to watch the horrific footage of Tyre Nichols in Memphis. Yesterday, the vice president attended his funeral, and today, the president and vice president are meeting with members of the Congressional Black Caucus as there are new calls for policing reform. Lauren Blanchard is in Washington with more.
The Congressional Black Caucus and the White House huddling over what to do about police reform, just a day after the funeral for Tyre Nichols, the young father beaten by Memphis police.
My hope is this dark memory spurs some action that we've all been fighting for. We got to stay at it as long as it takes.
Almost 3 years ago, the nation was horrified by the death of George Floyd. House Democrats put forward a police reform bill, but bipartisan talks fell apart in the Senate. Senator Tim Scott has been pushing for reform for years.
This is my 10th speech on policing in America in 8 years.
President Biden used his executive powers to pass limited reforms and maintains he does not support defunding the police. But after footage showed the brutality of police with Nichols, there are calls to revive the bill and negotiations. The calls for reform are loud, but so is public opinion, which shows 80% of Americans are concerned about crime rates, and a number of police officers are retiring or leaving their jobs, citing a lack of support.
We do need to have a real, genuine, authentic, and bipartisan conversation about dealing with police reform in America and figuring out how do we strengthen the relationship between the police and the community.
The mother and stepfather of Tyre Nichols will attend the State of the Union on Tuesday. The White House has not said how much of the president's speech will be on policing reform. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
A new economic development project could be in the works for Kansas.
The governor is announcing the project at the State House right now. This is a live look at the meeting. So let's take a listen of what the governor has to say.
Apex to land the largest economic development project in state history. And this year we are taking the next step to support the rapid emergence of an entire supply chain that will support the global semiconductor industry. And now to make today's announcement, it is my honor to turn it over to the person who is driving our economic development renaissance in Kansas, Governor Laura Kelly.
You know, it's nice to be back in this room and not have to talk about the pandemic. So thank you, Lieutenant Governor Toland. It is really good to be with all of you today, especially when I have such great news to share. Last year, Republicans and Democrats had the vision to upgrade our economic development toolbox and pass the Attracting Powerful Economic Expansion Act. Once I signed APEX into law, we had everything we needed to pursue big, transformational mega projects. In July, I announced that Kansas had landed the largest economic development project in Kansas history, Panasonic's $4 billion, 4,000-job electric vehicle battery plant. We had never seen anything like it before. But as it said at the groundbreaking in November, Panasonic did not represent the end of our economic development efforts. Far from it. We were just getting started. And today is proof. I'm proud to announce that our 2023 APEX project is our state's own Integra Technologies. I am just so glad this is a Kansas-based project. This is wonderful. Integra plans to build a 1 million square foot semiconductor manufacturing plant in Wichita, and with it invest $1.8 billion and create 2,000 high-quality jobs. It is the second largest economic development project in Kansas history. This advanced manufacturing facility is part of a national push to restore our semiconductor industry so that U.S. workers and businesses can compete and win in the race for the 21st century. As part of that, Integra will now be applying for federal CHIPS funds to round out the resources they need to build this facility. Our support through APEX is crucial to making that happen. We're looking forward to helping Integra pursue CHIPS funding and making Kansas an essential part of our country's national security efforts. Once we secure that funding, Integra's investment will have ripple effects throughout Wichita and the entire state. Just look at the numbers. Wages will average about $51,000. Beyond the 2,000 jobs created directly by Integra, an estimated 3,000 additional jobs will be created by suppliers and local businesses. And for every $1 of state investment in this project, Integra will generate over $200 of private investment. But more importantly, this investment will add one more proof point that we have put Kansas, all of Kansas, on the map. Companies, both homegrown and international, now look to...
Okay, so we're going to cut in now. That was Lieutenant Governor David Toland talking first, and then we joined with Governor Laura Kelly. So if you are just joining us, here's a few things that she did have to say. The company is Integra, which is a semiconductor company. It will be a $1.4 billion in planned capital investment, and it will bring an estimated about 1,000 jobs to the Wichita area.
So nothing for the immediate area with either one of these, but it does help the state considerably. So
helps Kansas.
Yeah, you've got Panasonic in DeSoto and now Integra down in Wichita.
Yeah, and she said this will be the second one. So like you mentioned, the first one is going to be Panasonic. All right, we are still 5 days out from the Super Bowl, but fans are already making their way to Arizona this week.
And that's where we find Julian Delgadio. He's live in Glendale. So Julian, what is the atmosphere? Kind of set the stage for us as all these fans start arriving ahead of Sunday's game.
David, Mackenzie, great to see both of you. Happy Tuesday, and yes, we are inching closer to kickoff of Super Bowl 57 right here in Glendale. But this week in Arizona specifically, it's not just football at the forefront of the entire NFL universe. It's also the Waste Management Golf Open that's going on in Scottsdale. That tees off tomorrow with the Pro-Am, with the tournament taking place on Thursday. That's going to bring in a whole different crowd than just NFL fans. That's considered a crazy party, and the loudest. It also houses the loudest golf course on the entire PGA Tour. We'll have a feature on that coming your way later this week. We also have spring training starting right after Super Bowl week comes to an end, so baseball fans also starting to flood in here and enjoy the beautiful Arizona weather. But yes, the football and Super Bowl on the forefront. The NFL experience, definitely something a lot of fans look forward to. That's at the Phoenix Convention Center. That reopens on Thursday, and I think anybody coming out to the big game should stop by, check that out. It's only $20 to get in, and it is a must-stop, to say the least.
Okay, Julian, make us jealous a little bit more here in Topeka. What has your favorite moment been so far?
Talking to you guys. That's clearly the goal of this whole thing, and it's been so much fun to hang out with everybody coast to coast. And you know, it's just one of those things that you don't really realize, because you do so many different things and so many different points, but we try to soak it all in, and it's kind of a blur until it ends, and you feel pretty grateful about it.
Well, we are definitely grateful you could join us.
You bet, and he's got several days left too, since it's only Tuesday.
We will join him again.
He's just getting cranked up, and we'll check back in with him in just a moment or two.
You're watching Fox 43 News at 9.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us for Fox 43 News at 9. I'm Denisha Richard. Time now is 9:31, and the NFL's opening night ceremony is underway in Arizona. With just a week before the big game, the event is the first time the teams speak with the media after arriving in Glendale. Our own Andrew Martin is live there right now. Okay, Andrew, all of us want to know right now, what's the atmosphere like out there?
Hopefully for many, they're hoping that their team will win. Reporting live from Glendale, Arizona. So, Denisha, since we last spoke, do you ready for this? I have just been given a report in like the last 10 minutes or so. The Eagles are done. It's the Chiefs' time right now. But during the Eagles' 1 hour at the Footprint Center, there were people that were trying to give the players foreign candies, right? Taking candy from strangers. And I was told that there was a naked man in a barrel. So make of that what you will. A lot of craziness going on at the Footprint Center in downtown Phoenix right now.
Well, obviously everybody is exciting right now, and so with all that stuff going on, what exactly happens at opening night? I want to know, so I'm sure everybody else wants to know too.
Yes. Well, first let me say it is unusual for somebody to show up without clothes. You're still out there in the public, so you might want to actually cover up. And it's in the 40s over here, so, you know, you get the forecast, and you might want to bundle up just a little bit. But opening night is really... They call it a wild scene. It used to be just an event where, you know, all the players are available, players, coaches, you know, for interviews. It's the last time during the course of Super Bowl week that the players will make a public appearance. They'll do media opportunities and availabilities throughout the rest of the week, but on opening night, this is when fans actually get a chance to be a part of these festivities. The NFL used to have this on Tuesday morning of game week. They have since 2016, turned it into a primetime event. They charge $20 for tickets so fans can actually get in and be a part of this. But you're literally, imagine... The best way to describe it is just, it's a wild and crazy scene. Imagine thousands of people just trying to run around, grab interviews with as many people as they can. You've got celebrities out there. I saw Simone Biles at a previous Super Bowl just trying to get interviews with people. Flula Borg, an actor who was in Pitch Perfect 2, I believe. You'll see people dressed in costumes. It's a wild scene that you really have to see it and be a part of it to truly understand the craziness. And it only lasts for 60 minutes per team, and then they clear the whole place out.
Well, it doesn't really get any wilder than having people in the buff out there in Arizona. All right, well, Andrew, thanks for checking in with us. Good work out there.
Plus, leaders from 2 continents hoping to make a change, what they're planning to help with on the support toward Ukraine. Good Tuesday evening, and thanks for watching tonight. I'm David George.
And I'm Mackenzie Davis. We start in Washington. U.S. leaders are highlighting support for Ukraine in several different ways this week. President Biden and his top defense leaders are emphasizing ongoing commitments to the country as they try to beat back Russian forces.
27 News Washington correspondent Hannah Brandt joins us live right now with much more.
David, Mackenzie, good evening. That's right. Helping Ukraine is a central focus as President Biden hosts the Dutch Prime Minister at the White House today. Also, earlier today, for the very first time, the top U.S. military leader met face-to-face with Ukraine's top military official. Sitting side by side, President Biden and Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte pledged more support for Ukraine.
There's more to do, and we have to stay together.
The two leaders are part of an international coalition planning to ramp up military assistance. The U.S. is expanding training of Ukrainian troops and partnering with other countries to give Ukraine Patriot missile systems, tanks, and other air defense weapons.
Your leadership, United States, you personally, has been crucial.
And Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says his country desperately needs the help. Over the weekend, a Russian missile strike destroyed an apartment building, killing dozens of Ukrainians, including children.
Russia is just continuing to act in ways that are almost unbelievable.
Earlier on Tuesday, near Ukraine's border with Poland, the U.S. chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, met with Ukraine's top military officer face-to-face for the first time as the two countries coordinate on next steps.
We're going to continue to adapt and evolve and tailor that assistance based on the situation on the ground.
And U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin will be in Germany later this week to meet with other global leaders to discuss Ukraine's ongoing military needs. Also, Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the U.S. may announce additional assistance for Ukraine during those meetings. Live in Washington, I'm Hannah Brandt.
Hannah, are there any other ways the U.S. and Netherlands are partnering?
David, there are, and one of the big ones that the White House is pointing to is that President Biden is hosting a summit for democracy with the Dutch Prime Minister and a couple of other world leaders. That's scheduled to be happening in March.
Okay, Hannah, thank you for that live report from D.C. tonight.